Good morning, guys. How are you guys doing? Pretty good? Good. So today we will start section 2.1, which is chapter 2. And you guys know the rectangular coordinate system, the distance formula, you'll have a number line. So this is a horizontal number line, right? You know the number line, right? So you have a 0 in the middle, and then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. Right to the right of 0, we have a positive number, and we have a -1, -2, -3, -4. So this is a horizontal number line, right? And then you have a vertical number line, this. So this is a vertical number line, right? So you have a 0 here. If you go up, you have a positive number, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you go down, you have a -1, -2, -3, -4. So this is a horizontal number line. This is a vertical number line. And then when we move this here, then what will you get? You see, you'll have something like this. When the horizontal number line and the vertical number line intersect at right angles at 0, at origin, we call origin, is that right? So now they divide the whole plane into 4 equal parts. So this is first, this is second, this is third, and this is fourth. You see that? You have a horizontal number line and you have a vertical when they intersect at right angles, right? Then they divide the whole plane into 4 equal parts, right? Each part is called quadrant. So this is a first quadrant, and this is a second quadrant, right? And this is a third quadrant. And this is what? Fourth quadrant. That makes sense? So any point, right? This is a rectangular coordinate system. Any point on the plane is represented by the ordered pair. You see this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you go down, this will be -1. Are you guys with me? Right? -1, -2, -3, so on. So now if you have a point here, right? So the position of this point can be determined by the distance of this point from the y-axis to this distance, and then from the x-axis, this distance, right? If this point is at a distance of x unit from the x-axis, this is x unit from the y-axis, right? And a y unit from the x-axis. And this is x, so this is also x. So the coordinate, the coordinate of this point is x, y. That makes sense? Now, in this particular case, you see that this point is at a distance of 1 unit from the y-axis. This is y-axis. This is x-axis, right? So this point is at a distance of 1 unit from the y-axis and 2 unit from the x-axis. So the coordinate of this point is 1, 2. You see that, right? So look here, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, this is x-axis, this is y-axis, right? So if you have any point AB here, this is PAB, right? A is the distance from the y-axis. So this is the distance from the y-axis. This is A. And B is the distance from the x-axis. Yeah, that makes sense? This is A, this is origin, right? Right? This point is when you move A unit from the origin to the right, and if you move like a B unit up, so this is this. And now, any point on the first quadrant has both x and y coordinate positive. Right? Any point on the second quadrant. You see? So now if you have a point here, your distance from the y-axis, this is distance from the y-axis, and this is distance from the x-axis, right? And the coordinate of this point will be x value negative, x coordinate negative, because you move from here, you move to the left, right? And then y value will be positive. That makes sense? If you have a third quadrant, so you see the x value will be negative and y value will also be negative. Are you with me? And on the fourth quadrant, your x value will be positive and y value will be negative. You got it? So this is the, and now if you want to find the distance between 2 points, let's say if you want to find the distance between 2 points, so you have your, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, and let's say you have a point P, x1, y1, and you have a point Q, x2, y2. So if you want to find the distance between these 2 points, right, then how do you find that? You draw the perpendicular from here to the x-axis. You also draw the perpendicular from here. You know the perpendicular means, right? Right? This vertical line makes right angle here, right? So this line is perpendicular to the x-axis. That makes sense? And then you also draw the perpendicular from here to the what? Line, let's say this is P, R, S, T, whatever. It's like this. So our job is to find distance between P and Q. We denote that by D, P, comma Q. So this is the notation, right? This is the notation for distance between P and Q. Distance between P, x1, y1 and Q, x2, y2. And I don't know, you may be familiar with that formula in your high school. Let me write down here, okay? If you have a point P, x1, y1 and Q, x2, y2, and you want to find the distance between these 2 points, so the distance between this, dpq, and people simply denote by this d. D represents distance between the point what, x1, y1 and x2, y2, okay? And so this is radical x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Are you familiar with that formula? No? No? Okay, anyway. So now let me show you, okay? I want to prove this, okay? Okay, so let's do a little bit geometry. Okay, so this is origin, is that right? Right? This is origin, right? And what is this distance? This. What is this distance? OS. Can you let me know what is that distance? So what is this? What is the coordinate of this point? x1, y1. Is that right? Right. So this will be x1. Is that right? This is x1, and what is this? What is this? This is y1. Right? Remember we did, like, if this point is P3, 4, what does that mean? So if you perpendicular here, if you draw the perpendicular from here to this line, this is x-axis, right? So this is 3 unit, and this is what? 4 unit. You know that, right? Right? You go like a 3 unit to the right from the origin, and you go 4 unit off. Is that right? So now, similarly, look here. If you do here, this, I'm trying to find out OT. So what is the coordinate of the point Q? x2, y2. Is that right? So what is OT? X2, exactly. Right? And what is QT? Y2. Exactly. QT is y2. So now, look here. So this OT is x2. This OS is x1. So what is ST? You see what I'm talking, right? So OT is x2. OS is x1. So what is ST?
Is it x2 minus x1?
Yes, x2 minus x1. So this is x2 minus x1. Are you guys with me? That makes sense, right? Right? So you see the PS is y1, and this figure, look at, this is right angle, this is right angle, this is also right angle, so it should be right angle. So this PRTS, this is a rectangle, is that right? This is a rectangle. And you know the opposite sides of rectangles are equal. You know that, right? Opposite sides of rectangles are equal. So if this is y1, so this RT, it must be also what? y1. So this is also y1. You see that? Now look here, this QT is y2, this RT is y1, so what is QR?
YT minus y1.
Yes, so the QR is y2 minus y1. So this QR, okay? So this is y2 minus y1. Are you guys with me? Right? Is that right? y2 minus y1. Now ST and PR, how are they related? They are equivalent, yeah. So now this should be also what? What is this? What is this? PR. PR is what? X2 minus X1. Is that right? Did you say that? So now, what type of triangle is QRP? Right triangle. So look here, let me just make that triangle QRP, okay? You have a triangle like this, Q, so this is QRP, right? So you know the QR, this is y2 minus y1, QR is y2 minus y1, and PR, so this is x2 minus x1, and this is the distance between, this is PQ, you know this Q is, this coordinate of Q is x2, y2, And the coordinate of P is x1 comma what? y1, is that right? So now you have to find this distance, okay? So now, hey, you know this PR, you know QR, is that right? So how do you find PQ? Do you know how to find PQ? So in this right triangle, this is the right angle, right? What is this? What is PR? Sorry, what is PQ? PQ is what? Hypotenuse, is that right? Right? Are you with me? And these are the two legs of a right triangle, right? And you know the Pythagorean theorem, right? So let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C, right? So the Pythagorean theorem tells you C square equal to A square plus B square. Are you with me? So now the C square equal to your A is x2 minus x1. So this is x2 minus x1 square plus your B, this is your B, right? y2 minus y1 square. You see that? So now, I now C square equal to this. So now your C, you take the radical sign on both sides. So this is x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. Did you see that? Right? But this C is the what? Distance between Pi and Q. So now the distance between Pi and Q, so you have a distance between Pi and Q is going to be radical. So this is x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. So this is the distance formula. Did you see that? Right? So now we will discuss, application of what? This formula. So we'll have 2 points, right? And we can use this formula to find distance between them. Does that make sense? So. Look here. So we talked about the ordered pairs like x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, a comma b. So they are what? Ordered pair, right? You see what I'm talking, right? In your real life, the pair means, you know that, right? So you need to have a two, you have a pair of shoes, right? You have a pair of eyes, right? Pair of ears, something like that, right? But here, an ordered pair. So ordered means what? You have 2 components written inside parentheses, like 1 comma 2, 2 comma 4, a comma b. When you write them inside parentheses, that will be the what? Ordered pair. Do you see that? So writing ordered pair. So look here, you have use the table to write ordered pairs to express the relationship between each category and the amount spent on it. Okay. So now you see for the food, how much is the amount spent? $8,506, right? So if you want to write them in an ordered pair, you start with parentheses, food, comma, 8506. Are you with me? Then parentheses, housing, comma, 21,374. So it's simple. Look here. Did you see that? The data in the second row for the housing. This is the ordered pair. You see that? Housing, comma, 21,370. This is simple. For the entertainment, you see, your first component is the entertainment, and your second component is the what? Amount is spent, right? So, hey, I talked about this. You guys know that, right? We did that, right? Before. And then distance formula. We did that? Yeah. This is the formula, okay. Right? I proved it. So, hey, let's find the, by the way, let me do the slideshow, okay. Let me find the distance between what? 2 points. It's simple. If you want to find the distance between P negative 8 comma 4 and Q so if you want to find the distance between points P negative 8 comma 4, you have a P negative 8 comma 4 and Q, what is that, 3 comma negative 2. So you have to find the distance between them. You know what I mean? So you don't have to draw the figure, but I want to show you like here. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, right? Right? So if you want to plot them here, so negative 8 comma 4, you know, negative 8 comma 4 is somewhere, let's say negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, 6, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, comma 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So not to scale here, okay? This is not for scaling, okay? I'm just like estimating here. So here is your point negative 8 comma 4. Did you say that? And then Q 3 comma negative 2. So let's say this is your origin. 1, 2, 3, a negative 2, 1, 2. So right here somewhere. Are you with me, guys? So now you need to find out the distance between these what 2 points, right? You don't have to draw, you know, like I just showed you. So you are trying to find out what distance between these 2 points. So you have a formula. So let's say this is the point x on y1. So your x on y1 is negative 8 comma 4. And then you have the point x to y2. Your x2 comma y2 is 3 comma negative 2. Is that right? Right? So this is your point x on y1. And this is your point x2 comma y2. Are you guys with me? So now, and you have the formula. What is your formula? Distance between these 2 points d equal to, you say, x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square. By the way, so these two order pairs are equal. What does that mean? What is the value of x1? Negative 8. What is the value of y1? Positive 4. Did you see that? So x1 is negative 8, y1 is 4, x2 is 3, y2 is negative 2. Now you plug in, let us plug in, okay, the value of x2 and y2. So now x2 is 3 minus, hey, this is x2 minus x1, okay? Right? x2 minus x1 is square plus y2 minus y1 is square, okay? So the x2 is 3 minus, what is the value of x1? Negative 8. So this is negative 8. So this is square plus, what is y2? Negative 2, right? Yeah, negative 2 minus, what is your y1? 4 square. Right? So now, if we do that, so the distance equal to radical. So 3, you see 3, negative times negative, positive 8. 3 plus 8, 11. 11 square plus, this is what, negative 6 square. Make sense? So D equals to radical 121 plus this is 36. So D equal to radical. Are you with me? So what is 121 plus 36? Yeah, what did you say? 157. Yes, sir. So this is the distance between 2 points. It's simple. Okay? Make sense? Good. So now you see, yep, we got it, right? So the distance formula, Pythagorean theorem, we did that. Now, look here, guys. So you have to determine whether the points m negative 2 comma 5, n 12 comma 3, and q 10 comma negative 11 the vertices of a right triangle. If these are the vertices of a right triangle, right? The triangle will be a right triangle if it satisfies what? Pythagorean theorem. Right? So we have to determine, okay? So let me. So you just find the distance. So determine whether the points m negative 2 comma 5 and 12 comma 3, we have a point m negative 2 comma 5, and we have a q. So q is 10 comma, we have an n. So you have a n which is 12 comma 3, and you have a q. So the q is 10 comma negative 11. Okay, and then we have to determine whether these points are vertices of a right triangle. So you just find the distance between m and n, because you have a, let me show you the rough figure here. It looks like this, guys. So this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. Your m is negative 2 comma 5, so negative 2 comma 5, negative 1, negative 2, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe somewhere like this. You see that this is m negative 2 comma 5, and n 12 comma 3. So n 12 comma 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, comma 3. So 1, 2, 3. So somewhere here, you know what I mean? You see that? Somewhere here, right? 12 comma 3. And q 10 comma negative 11. So 10 comma negative 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is origin, okay? 10 comma negative 11. Let's go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you with me? Are you with me? So 1, 2, 3, 4, you know what I mean, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Negative 11. So 10 unit right, 11 unit down, right? 10 unit right here, right? And 11 unit down. So this is somewhere here. So what you need to show is, what you need to prove is whether the triangle, this. So you have this, you have this, and you have this, is this a right triangle? That's the question. That makes sense? So the question is M and Q a right triangle? So this is the question. Okay? So now you find the distance between m and n and q. This is n is 12 comma 3 and the q is 10 comma negative 11. You find distance between m and n. So if you want to find distance between m comma n, you remember the distance formula, right? So you consider the point m as x1, y1. So your x1, y1 is going to be point m, which is negative 2 comma 5, and this is 12 comma 3. So let's say this is your x2, y2 is 12 comma 3. So you guys know the distance formula, right? You see what I'm doing? So this is x2 minus x1 is square, x2 minus x1 is square plus y2 minus y1 is square. Right? So now this is distance between m comma n equal to radical. What is your x2? 12. What is your x1? Negative 2. So 12, right? Minus, this is minus from here, okay? And x1 is, are you guys with me? x1 is negative 2, right? 12 minus negative 2 is square plus, what is your y2? Your y2 is 3 minus, what is your y1? What is your y1? 5, yeah. 3 minus 5 is square. So far, so good. Okay, so now you want to find distance between m and n is radical. So let me do 12. This negative times negative 2 is positive 2. 12 plus 2 is 14. So this is 14 is square plus. So 3 minus 5. So this is negative 2 is square. Right? So distance between m comma n equals to radical. What is 14 square? 196, is that right? Plus 4, right? Parenthesis negative. So distance between m comma n is, this is radical, 200. So this distance is radical 200. This distance, right? Now similarly, you need to find out the distance between M and Q. So you want to find out the distance between M and Q. So M, this is x1, y1, and the Q is, what is your point Q? Q is 10 comma negative 11, is that right? So this is 10 comma negative 11. So now, so distance between M comma Q is radical. So your x2 is 10. So this is 10 minus, what is your x1 is negative 2. 10 minus negative 2. So this is square plus, what is your y2? Your y2 is negative 11 minus your y1 is 5 square. Right? Make sense? So distance between M and Q is radical. So this is 10 plus 2, right? 10 plus 2 is 12. So this is 12 square is 144 plus, I think this is negative 11 minus 5, negative 16, right? And negative parenthesis, negative 16 is square. It's going to be 256.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that would be radical. 144 plus 256 is what? Radical 400. So you got this radical 400. So this is radical 400, okay? So MQ, this is radical 400. See that? Yes? Now, next you need to find the distance between what? N and Q. So let's say, what is your N? N is 12,3, right? So let's say your x1, y1 is 12,3. So you're going to find distance NQ. Right? So we need to find distance between N and Q. And you know the coordinate of n is 12, 3. We consider that as x and y1. And the coordinate of q is 10, negative 11. So what will be this? The distance between n, q is radical. So your x2 is 10. So this is 10 minus, what is your x1? 12. So 10 minus 12 is square. 10 minus 12 is square plus, what is your y2? Your y2 is negative 11 minus, what is your y1? 3. So now distance between n and q is going to be radical. What is 10 minus 12? Negative 2 square. This is 4, right? And plus, this is negative 11 minus 3. Yes, negative 14 parenthesis, negative 14 square. Yes, sir. 196, right? So now you see that. So D and Q is equals to radical 200. So this is radical 200 unit. You see that? Now, right, we need to determine whether this is a right triangle. Right? So now guys, if it is a right triangle, hypotenuse is the what? Longest side, right? Hypotenuse is the longest side. Are you with me? So if it is a right triangle, it should be a what? Hypotenuse. Is that right? And all the, you can consider this A and this side what? B, whatever. Now, let's see whether it satisfies Pythagorean theorem or not, okay? So the Pythagorean theorem, remember you have a c square equal to a square plus b square. That makes sense. So now this is radical 400 square. Radical 400 square. This is question mark, okay? Are you with me? Does it satisfy the Pythagorean theorem? So a square means radical 200 square plus, so this is also what? Radical 200 square. So radical 400 square, what is radical 400 square? 400 equals to, what is this? 200, good. What is this? Hey, did you see that? If 400 equal to 400, this is true, is that right? So that means satisfy the what? Pythagorean theorem, right? So that means triangle MNQ is a right triangle. So this M, N, and Q are the vertices of a right triangle. Make sense? Yeah. You see that? Okay. So now we'll talk about the collinear points. You see, if you have 3 points, they are called collinear if they lie a straight line. Okay. Now, but how do you prove that using distance formula? If the sum of the distances between 2 pair of points is equal to distance between the remaining pair of points, then they are what? Collinear. So basically it is like this, guys. So if you have a points, 3 points, let's say you have a point P here, point Q here, and point R here. You see that? P here, Q here, and R here. So these 3 points, do they lie on a straight line? Can you draw a straight line passing through these 3 points, P, Q, R? No, right? So that means, now you see, I can draw a straight line joining these 2 points, right? But I cannot draw a straight line passing through all these 3 points. So that means P, Q, R, they are not what? Collinear. P, Q, and R are not collinear. Okay. So now, but if you have a point, let's say R, S, and T. You see we have a 3 points. Can you draw a straight line passing through these 3 points? Yes, right? So let me draw, okay? I try my best. Yeah, I did it, right? You see that? So now these 3 points, this R, S, and T are collinear. They are collinear. Did you get it? Now, so what you can say is 3 points are collinear if the sum of distances between 2 pair of points. If I find the distance between R and S, right? This is the distance between 1 pair of points. And if I find the distance between S and T, and if I find the distance between R and T, look here. So now, if the sum of the distances between 2 pair of points, look here. So this is the sum of the distances between what? 2 pair of points is equal to what? Distance between the remaining pair of points. You see that? So if this is the case, then you can say what? Collinear. If the sum of the distances between 2 pair of points is equal to the distance between the remaining pair of points, then we can say the points are collinear. Did you get it? Good. So now, so determine whether the points P, Q, and R are collinear. So it's just like find the distance between PQ, find the distance between QR, and find the distance between PR, okay? Oh my gosh, this is... Okay, so determine whether the points, you have a points P, -1, 5, and you have the points Q, 2, -4, and the points R, 4, -10. And you have to determine, are they collinear? R, P, Q, and R collinear. So this is the question to answer, okay? It's simple. You find out distance between P and Q. You find out distance between P and R, right? And then you find distance between P and Q and R, right? If the sum of distances between 2 pair of points is equal to the sum of the distance, right? Sum of the distance of a pair of remaining points, then you can say they are collinear. So let me find distance PQ, okay guys? Okay, so let's say this is your x1, y1, this is your x2, y2, right? And you know the distance formula. So this is x2 minus x1 square plus, so this is y2 minus y1 square, right? So now what will happen here? So, So now distance between Pi and Q is radical. What is my x2? This is 2 minus, what is my x1? Negative 1. Are you with me? The square, right? Right? Plus, what is y2? Negative 4 minus, what is your y1? 5. Right? So now, so distance between Pi and Q is equals to, this is 2 plus 1, 3 square, which is 9, plus this is, are you with me? Negative 4 minus 5, what is that? Negative 9. And are you with me? This is negative 9, parenthesis negative 9 is square. 81. Right? So now the distance between PQ is radical 90. Right? So similarly, let us find distance between QR. So I want to find out the distance between QR, okay? So distance between QR. And you have the point Q. Q is the point 2 comma negative 4. So Q is the point 2 comma negative 4. Let's say this is my x1, y1. x1 comma y1. And then R is the point what? 4 comma negative 10. Let's say this is my x2 comma y2. Are you with me? And you know the distance formula. This is radical. x2 minus x1 is square plus y2 minus y1 is square. So this is the distance formula. So distance between Q and R is radical. What is my x2? 4 minus, what is my x1? 2. So this is 4 minus 2 is square plus, what is my y2? What is my y2? Negative 10 minus, what is my y1? Negative 4. This is square. Right? So now the distance between Q and R is equal to radical. What is 4 minus 2? 2 is square, which is 4, plus, what is negative 10 plus 4?
Negative 6.
And negative 6 is square, it is 36. Is that right? So this is radical 40. You see that? So, next I want to find out the distance between PR, okay? What is my point P? So my point P is negative 1 comma 5. I want to consider this side the x1, y1. Okay. And what is my point R? So R is 4 comma negative 10. I will consider this as what? X2 comma y2. Right? So now the distance between PR, so this distance between PR is radical x2 minus x1 is square plus y2 minus y1 is square. Okay? So now it would be what? So what is your x2? 4. 4 minus negative 1 is square plus, what is my y2? Negative 10 minus 5. Negative 10 minus 5 is square. And now the distance between Pi and R is equals to radical. So this is 4 plus 1, 5 is square is 25 plus, what is this?
Negative 2.5.
Yes, so negative 15 is square. This is 2 to 5, right? 225, and this is radical. So 25 plus 2 to 5 is 250. right? So now, hey, let's simplify this, okay, a little bit more, okay? So, hey, radical 40, can you simplify it further? Radical 40, can I write down this as 4 times 10? Is that right? 4 times 10. And what is radical 4? 2. So this is 2 radical 10. Are you guys with me? Is that right? Can you do pretty much similar thing here? Can you simplify it further? Radical 90.
Same thing, except 3.
What did you say?
It'd be the same thing, but it'd be 3 radical 10.
Do you mind if I write 9 times 10? This is 9 times 10, right? Because 9 is a square number, right? Right? Is that right? So this is same as radical 9 times radical 10. Right? What is radical 9? 3. So distance between Pi and Q is 3 radical 10. So let's do pretty much similar thing here, okay? Can you simplify it further? Yes, 25 times 10. Excellent. So this is 25 times 10 times 10, okay? This is 25 times 10. Be careful here, okay? This is 9 times 10, okay? 9 times 10. So radical 25 times 10 is same as radical 25 times radical 10. Are you guys with me? Yes? What is radical 25?
5.
Yes, so distance between P and R is 5 radical 10. So now, so you see these points are collinear if the sum of the distances between 2 pair of points, right, is equal to what? The distance between the remaining pair of points, right? So now look here, what do you think? Are they collinear? So now, if you add up 2 distances, does it equal third distance? If we add any 2 of the distances, does it equal to the distance between remaining pair of points? Yes? What did you see?
3 radical 10 plus the 2 radical 10.
Exactly. If we add 2 radical 10 and 3 radical 10, right, or 3 radical 10 with 2 radical 10, that will give you what? 5 radical 10. So you see that? So distance between Pi and Q plus distance between Q and R, so does it equal to distance between Pi and R? And now you see the distance between P cube is 3 radical 10 plus distance between QR is 2 radical 10. So does it equal to, this is 5 radical 10? Yes, it does, right? So 3 radical 10 plus 2 radical 10 is 5 radical 10 equal to what? 5 radical 10. So this is true. This is true. So that means these points are collinear. So you can write P, Q, and R are collinear points. So this implies, I can write here, this will tell you P, Q, and R are collinear. So this is our conclusion. You got it? Okay, so now, then I'll take you to the midpoint formula, okay? So this is the midpoint formula, guys. Look here. So you have the line segment with the end points px on y1 and qx to y2, right? And if you wanna find the midpoint, so we have this formula, okay? So if you have a line segments PQ with the coordinate px on y1 and qx2 comma y2, and let's say x comma y be the midpoint of PQ. This is my Q. Okay? So the coordinate of the point x is x1 plus x2 over 2, and the coordinate of the point y is y1 plus y2 over 2. So this is something like this. You have this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, you have a point P here, this is x on y1, and you have a point Q here, this is x to y2, and you have the midpoint right here. This is the midpoint, right? If this is midpoint x comma y, so the coordinate of the point x is given by this, and coordinate of the point y is given by this. That makes sense? Did you get it? So now let's work with the problem. Okay, this is so now you find the coordinate of the midpoint m of the line segment with the end points 8, 4 and negative 6, 1. So you have 8, negative 4 and negative 6, 1. So you have a, so this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, right? So 8, negative 4 is somewhere 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is origin, okay? Negative 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not for a scale, okay? It's just like I'm estimating this. I'm guessing this. Somewhere here, right? Negative 6, 1. So negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, 1. So this is somewhere here. So this is negative 6, 1, and then you join them like this, right? Right? So this is 8, negative 4. This is m. No, this is not m, just like this. So now you need to find the midpoint, right? You consider either one of them as x on y1 and x to y2. So let's say I want to consider this as the x on y1, and I want to consider this as the x to y2, and I want to find the midpoint, right? It's somewhere here. Let's say this is the midpoint m, x, y. Are you with me, guys? Right? Did that make sense? Yes? So now, you see, this x equal to x1 plus x2 over 2. This is the formula, okay? And you know y equal to y1 plus y2 over 2. Good so far? So, hey, what is my x1? So I consider this point as, you can consider either one of them as x on y1 and x to y2, okay? It doesn't matter. Now here I consider this as the x on y1. You can consider this as what x to y2. It's up to you. Okay, so now what is x1? So x equal to, your x1 is negative 6 plus, what is your x2? 8. So negative 6 plus 8 over 2. Make sense? So that will give you x equal to negative 6 plus 8, which is 2 over 2, equal to what? 1. Right? And then y equals to y1. What is y1? 1. Good. What is y2? Negative 4 over 2. And you see this is y equal to 1 minus 4. So that is negative 3 over 2. Right? So x comma y, this is the midpoint, okay, equals to 1 comma negative 3 over 2. So this is the midpoint. Simple. Are you guys with me? So now let us do part B, okay? Find the coordinates of the other endpoint Q of a segment with one endpoint P negative 6 comma 12 and midpoint M 8 comma 12. So the midpoint is given. You see, so midpoint which is x comma y, so this is the midpoint, okay? It is given. So this is 8 comma negative 2. So this is 8 comma negative 2. So this is midpoint. So midpoint is given. This is midpoint. And one end point is also given. One end point is also given. What is that? P negative 6 comma 12. So you can consider this as what? X1, Y1 or X2, Y2, whatever. So basically you see if you have something like this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis, right? This is your origin. So midpoint 8 comma 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 comma 2, 1, 2, something somewhere here. This is midpoint. So yes, right here. This is midpoint, which is 8 comma 2. So this is midpoint. And one endpoint is negative 6 comma 12. It's negative 6 comma negative, sorry, this is positive 12. I'm sorry, okay? So this is negative 6 comma positive 12, okay? So negative 6, so negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, comma positive 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere here, guys. Somewhere here. So this is negative 6 comma 12. Are you guys with me? Right? Now we need to find out the what? So this is the midpoint. So this is the midpoint. This is the midpoint. And I don't know, like the another endpoint maybe somewhere here. Who knows? Right? Because this is the midpoint. So maybe either it goes like. Are you with me? So this is given. Let's say this is x1, y1, one endpoint. So this is midpoint. This is x, y. It is given. We need to find other endpoint, which is what? X2, comma y2. That makes sense? So we have formula, midpoint formula. So the midpoint formula is, what is the midpoint formula? X equal to x1 plus, yes, this, right? And y equal to what?
Y1 plus Y2.
Excellent. y1 plus y2 over 2. Good? So now we know the value of x. What is the value of x? You plug in the value of x, which is 8. We know that, right? Right? What is the value of x1? Negative 6. So the value of x1 is negative 6 plus. What is the value of x2? You need to find, right? We need to find. So this is the value of x2 over, this is 2. Is that right? Now we need to solve this equation. So how do you solve this equation?
Wouldn't you want to get x2 on its own?
Say that again, sir.
Wouldn't you want to get x2 on its own versus like it's
Yeah, but before that, you can either multiply both sides by 2 or Because you need to get rid of the denominator, right? You see on the right side we have a 2 on the denominator, right? So either you can multiply both sides by 2 or you can cross multiply. You see what I'm talking? So if you want to cross multiply, it will be what? What is 8 times 2? 16. 16 equal to, this is negative 6 plus x2. Is that right? Make sense? And then you add 6 on both sides. So you add 6 on both sides. So you cross them out. So what will be that is? X2 equal to? So what is 16 plus 6? 22? Yeah. So that will give you x2 equal to 22. Now you follow the pretty much same thing here. So what is your y? Your y is 2. What is your y1? 12? Is that negative? Oh, it is. Is it negative 2? So if it is negative 2, then if the midpoint is 8 comma, if it is, let's say, if it is 8 comma negative 2, it will go like, let's say this is 1, 2, it's 8 comma negative 2 is somewhere here. So the everything will be then you will have a graph like this. But you understand the concept, right? You have a graph like this. Did you see that? Right? And then this is the midpoint, so another endpoint will be somewhere here, which is what, x2 comma y2. Are you with me? Right? So this is 8 comma negative 2, negative 1, negative 2. This is 8 comma negative 2. Does that make sense? Right? So now you have y equal to y1 plus y2 over 2. So what is your y? Negative 2, right? Equals to, what is your y1? 12 plus this is y2 over 2. And it has 1 in the denominator. Right? You cross multiply. What will happen if you cross multiply?
You get
Negative 4 equal to what? 12 plus y2. Then what is y2? You subtract 12, is that right? From both sides, so you subtract 12, so minus 12. So this is minus 12, you cancel. So what is y2 is? Negative 4 minus 12 is negative 16. Is that right? Right? So what will be the other endpoint? So you need to find out the coordinates of the other endpoint Q. The other endpoint Q, the other endpoint is Q, x2 is 22 and y2 is negative 16. So this is 22 comma negative 16. Did you get it? Okay, so now yeah, 22 comma negative 16. Hey, can you read this? It's pretty long, right? Can you read this problem, please? Example number 6. Did you understand it? So this is the, you see, the following figure depicts how a graph might indicate the increase in the revenue generated by fast food restaurants in the United States from 69.8 billion in 1990 to 195.1 billion in 2014. Use the midpoint formula and the two given points to estimate the revenue from the fast food restaurants in 2002 and compare it to the actual figure of 138.3 billion. So we have the 2 points, guys. You see, the revenue generated by fast food restaurants in the United States from 69.8 billion in 1990. So that means in 1990, the amount of revenue generated by a fast food restaurant is what? 69.8 billion. Is that right? We have that point. Another one is what? In 2014, it is 195.1 billion. So you see we have 2 points. So in 1990, the total amount of the revenue generated by the fast food restaurants is 69.8 billion, 69.8. And then in 2014, how much is the revenue generated? 195.1 billion. So this is your x1, y1, and this is your what? x2, y2. So you need to find out the revenue, estimate the revenue from the fast food restaurant in 2002. So the revenue in 2002, what is the revenue? You need to find this. Right? So you can simply, I think like they also have a, but the actual figure is 138.3 billion. So this is the graph. You see that? See that? So in 1990, the revenue is 69.8 billion. In 2014, it is 195.1 billion. So this 2002 is in the middle. On the middle of between 1990 and what? 2014. Is that right? This is the 2002, right? So now, so let's say if you want to find the midpoint, you know the formula x equal to x1 plus x2 over 2 and y equal to what? y1 plus y2 over 2. You see that? Are you with me? So you see this is, so let me find out that what is x1? 1990 plus what is x2? 2014 over 2. Make sense? So I think like if you do 1990 plus 2014 divided by 2, what will be that is? It should be what? 2000? 2002. You see that? And then if you want to find this, what is your y1? 69.8, is that right? Plus, what is your y2? 195.1 divided by 2. So 132.45. So now in 2002, the revenue generated by this is what? 132.45. But what is the actual figure? 138.3. Is that right? You see that? So now if you look here, yeah, they use the midpoint formula, right? So our estimate is less than what? 138.3 billion, okay? Did you see that, guys? Right? So we use midpoint formula, right, to figure out the revenue generated in 2002. Did you see that? So, okay, I want to stop here. I will see you on Thursday, okay? Bye. Oh, maybe I...